So I like what you said, and I will definitely mull on this part. Like every time a rejection happens, I want to go back to saying, कि रुक, इतना बड़ा ये नहीं है. Just wait and just live with it. One question I want to ask you is: we are both talking nice, wise things, but in the heat of the moment, when that thing hits you, what is the first thing that you do? How do you calm yourself down? Because sometimes you really invested a lot in it. Like there are jobs when you put everything into it. You really studied and you've done your exercise as best as you can. And you come to the point where you think, बस अब तो Nobel Prize ही दे दो मुझे. And they are saying कि ये क्या है, ये तो ridiculous है, ये तो हमको KG में मालूम था. And especially in your field where there is so much hair splitting of every idea, because you cannot just quickly say yes to something which is so subtle. How do you make your peace when you know you landed upon gold, but nobody else is seeing the sheen?
So this is actually, like you said, away from all the wise words, this is where the rubber hits the road for all of us, right? So I will tell you very honestly, I may sit here and say wise things, I may write wise things, but in practical life, I lose my temper with people way more often than I should, and they get to hear about it. So and sometimes it's bad, and sometimes it's not so bad, or we are able to smooth it over. But I think there are two things in this. Okay, one is in the heat of the moment, you will end up fighting or saying something that you regret later. Yeah. The two important things here are first, I think, to forgive yourself, because if you don't forgive yourself, make peace with it. And by forgiving, I'm saying you acknowledge, yes, I screwed up, and yes, it's okay. Both have to, you have to make peace with both these things.
Yeah,
You won't be able to salvage that situation. Otherwise, you'll go back there and things will still be sticky or awkward. If you want to go back there, be graceful, say, I screwed up, but I'll do my best. I think you can salvage any situation. Other people are also human. They also know that these things
yeah,
happen, right? That is one thing, that you forgive yourself. And I think the second thing is that then you have to drop it and not carry that forward each time. I had written once that, we keep saying that we take forward learnings from one project to the next. So if I come and work with you, I'll tell you that I've worked on this category for 10 years in the past. I really know things about this consumer in this category. But what I really like to do is to take forward personal learnings for myself from each project or each mistake. And I don't do this often enough or rigorously enough, but I feel it's really important. So, what is the personal growth that I'd like to see for myself from that point to this point? And this time I actually did it, which is why I'm sharing it. So, there was a client where things turned a bit sticky. And of course, we turned it around, we salvaged it, we closed the project gracefully. And next time I said, okay, I remember the feedback that client gave, let me apply it this time. Yeah, and it worked with in a mixed way, because the new client is not the same as the old client. So his expectations were a little different. But still, I could change the way I did things, thinking that this was what upset that client. Maybe I should take care of these things here. And it actually worked out really well. So I would say taking forward personal learnings or personal growth goals in each project for yourself versus just, the goals of what you're going to add to the new project. This is something that works very well.
yeah. This is so beautiful because this reminds me we had gone to a client, me and my partner for that project. Um, Sometimes you already invested even before the work has started, uh, because you're going to a new client, you want to, uh, you are enthusiastic, you obviously hope to get the business, you're trying to do a lot of work. The client ended up mentioning some a very piddly sum for the work. And my art director immediately said, no, but so the client ended up saying, you always start with saying no, but you never even question the fact that it could be done or not. While that job he did, and he did it for the piddly sum, we never got any other business from the guy, and it was not a very happy experience. Some part of that was true, I thought. And yet, like you very rightly said, the shoe doesn't fit every time you go to a new job. The other client might deserve a no also. You got to be, so I like the fact that you got to acknowledge your own feelings, forgive yourself, Be honest. I think I write very good apology mails. Now, when you were talking, I just remembered a couple of times things have been when you're partnering someone, say you're working, say both of us work together. Obviously, I come to you or you come to me because of seniority of experience, and you expect a certain style of work, quality of work, delivery on time, a certain professionalism, but it may not happen for some reason. At that point in time, you may not deliver, or I may not deliver, and you are supposed to face the client. At that point, it's very important to stand up and agree. Okay, we may have screwed up, but we need to apologize in a manner where we don't go so much on the back foot, and we cannot work only. The condition needs to be balanced out. Having said that, yeah, one last question that I want to ask you in terms of this entire experience of a lot of examples you shared, lot of experiences, lot of value systems that have held you well, your outlook, your perspective about being a karma yogi, that is what you started. Is there a sincere build up to something? Is there a goal of sorts? Is there a like when you come across as wise, it's not just there are times when we act wise when we are not, but in the podcast, I have often found that uh, people are far more honest and authentic than they are when even when we are talking normally off camera. It's very difficult on camera to come out and be honest. But in a way, maybe there is some goodness in the intent itself that keeps working on all of us, including myself. It gives me strength to say my truths, even when I sometimes I look back and I say, "Are you mad? How can you talk this on camera?" But I am happy that I do so because the idea is to give strength to other people who may not have the strength. Then they may not be connected to us in any manner, some random, because we're putting it out on social media. Some guy watching YouTube going through a bad time just sees this and says, okay, it just worked for me at the right time. That's the intent. So, my question to you is this wholesome persona that we end up building over a period of time, where a lot of work goes in. Some part of it might be fictitious, sometimes fictitious in the sense it is inspirational. It's not yet there in us, but we are working towards it. But on camera, we want to say that we are this because we want to give ourselves the confidence. It's not really a lie. It's that no, I want to work on this. I'll say this here so that I do this. So is there something that you do? I have met other people of your age, and I can tell you there are a lot of people who don't think this is an important subject at all to work on oneself,
Mm.
come up with something. What is it that prompts this thinking is one question, and the correlated question is there any defined thing that you do, or is there any practice that you do to get into that mindset? No, I'll be a better human being. I'll be a better understanding, more wiser, calmer person. Is there anything that you do at all?
So one thing that has helped me a lot, and it's actually changed me over time, and it takes time for things to change you, and that is meditation. And I've been doing it, I think, for about 15 years now. And I
Okay.
won't say what kind of meditation, what, but if you look at a common thread across, be it yoga, be it anything else, there's an emphasis on breathing. Yeah. And there is a scientific basis to saying why you should breathe, because oxygen into your brain and your system literally helps you think better.
Uh,
So I think that practice is very helpful for everyone, to calm down, to slow down, to empty the mind. I'm not great at meditation or anything, but I think those 10, 15 minutes every day, they calm me. But I think the bigger question that you asked, that what really works is, and this is something I think everyone can do, and it's again a principle that I learned in Reiki, which is, we say you should live with the attitude of gratitude. And I think when I shifted into the virtuous cycle of gratitude versus the vicious cycle of insecurity or questioning or dissatisfaction, I was a much happier person. Uh, Perhaps compared to a lot of people, I may not have a lot of things to be grateful for. I live in a 1 BHK flat. I have a small car. I've been trying to see if I can afford a bigger home, but probably with what I'm earning now, I can't. And in the last year of lockdown, I have put on a lot of weight, and no matter what I try, I can't shift it. Okay, I keep trying, and the scales don't shift. And I have my moments of frustration, anger about all of these things, like why is it so? But it always comes back to me to saying I'm grateful that I'm able to get up and move this body. I'm able to do 20 Surya Namaskars. I'm able to walk, and that there is a fine, healthy body that will respond if I treat it right. And by feeding it stupid things for the last 2 years and then expecting it to shed its weight immediately, I'm being unreasonable. But I can be grateful that it wants to support my effort to try. Um, yes, it could be a small house, but yes, I don't have to worry about loans and other things that are a burden for a lot of people. So I think being able to have that gratitude for the situation has really helped me to make my peace with a lot of things. It's always tempting to think one could have been somewhere else or better than where one is. So I could have been the head of planning in a business, I could have done something else, but I'm very happy with not having a boss. And once I'm very clear that this is what I'm grateful for, then I think other things kind of recede. What could have been, what is not, because what I have is something so substantial. And this becomes a very strong base, I think, to work happily, to live creatively, and to be able to give something of yourself to others. You have to live with that gratitude and that acceptance that what you have is enough. And you have to always see yourself as wanting to be a bigger channel. So if you can be a bigger channel, more will come to you, because that is how more will go to others. And I think if these are the things that one keeps in mind, it's easy to be happy with where you are. And I am nobody to say this. I've seen people who are in a worse situation than me financially, or they are caretakers to aiding people in their lives who are incredibly cheerful and positive. And I think, when you look at people like that, it's also something for you to say, hey, what do I have to complain about?
I think I like the fact that you did not only put in perspective the smaller parts that are required, the gratitude, the acceptance, the contentment, the the sense of what to be thankful for, how you particularly are practicing it in a way, but also the holistic understanding of, okay, these are all actually emanating from the source of trying to really work towards yourself in terms of, okay, this is what I have, so I accept this, what is good about it, and then start working on perhaps what is not good. So there might be a need. I can tell you the opposite is true. I have a larger flat. Is every day I get uh, galis by my mother that is not clean enough. Your room is like this. Your room is like that. How much ever you work you put in, and I keep yearning, यार वो छोटा होता तो रिजॉल्व हो जाता, ये बड़ा है तो खत्म ही नहीं होता काम. So there is this sense of I learned this. I had gone for some kind of meditative class many years back, and while I was not part of that particular class that this assignment was given to, the assignment was you scrub your floor for a week. So one girl had actually particularly said, "Okay, I hate my flat; it's too big." And for the first time, I heard somebody in Bombay claiming that they are unhappy about having a bigger flat. So then you suddenly realize that, yeah, man, you can be thankful for smaller thing and it's all right. It's cozier. I have another thought about bigger flats is that it actually separates family members too much. Everybody has their own rooms. So you will end up not connecting as we did when we were growing up. One TV connected all and we all had to sit there, watch the same program. There was no democracy in that sense, except the fact that you could participate. It's been every bit worth the wait that I have waited for this particular question answer with you today. I kept thinking many times, what would we finally talk about? And I had no clue. There was a understanding that, okay, she has a very good mind and you would throw light upon things in a uh, you have this beautiful talent of simplifying very profound concepts, which is very difficult to do. And I find myself struggling with doing the same. At least I talk better than I write in that sense. So when I write, I land up being more complicated. At least that's what I think. So in that sense, I think it's been worth every bit. Thank you for taking the time, Nisha. I'm glad we had this talk today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was really a privilege. And I just wanted to say that when you write, it's not complicated. It is very easy to understand. And I think what you do is really amazing. And doing these podcasts just comes from the spirit of saying we are channels or mediums. We are trying to put out something good in this world. So
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that you do this, and all the best with it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. I'll see you
Yeah.
around.
Thank you. Take
Bye.
care. Thank you. Bye.